by the end of tonight's episode, I was getting a little annoyed with the commercial breaks. Every time someone was about to find food, we went to a commercial break, and it became so predictable that at the last scene where I think Amos was taking his shot at his grouse, that you were already getting up to go grab some snacks before he takes the shot because you know the show is about to cut to commercial break. History Channel, maybe just add a little bit more unpredictability. Maybe don't go to commercial break at the exact same cliffhanger every single time. But enough complaining. Let's get into tonight's episode. We will start off with Wania. Really felt like Wania and Cali had the most screen time by a pretty large margin. Maybe Amos made that up at the end of the episode. But Wania and Cali, they kind of seem to be the two headliners of the season. So as long as they're on the show, I expect that we're going to see lots of both of them. Wania started off with an interesting little scene where we find out that she's found a little bit of a loophole where she just brings a disturbingly large sweater and then dismantles the sweater to use as trapping supplies. It's a good move by Wania, maybe not in the spirit of the rules, but reminds me back to one of the early seasons of Survivor where Colby, you remember Colby used to host the after show. Well, when he was on Survivor, he took a Texas flag, and you were allowed one personal item, so he took this Texas flag, didn't tell anybody that it was like a 50 by 50 flag, and uses it for their shelter. Ended up being a pretty big advantage for his tribe, and kind of the same thing that Wania's doing here, bringing her ridiculously large sweater, which probably the largest sweater I've ever seen in my life, and now she's unknitting it to help her win this game. I really liked how she used parts of that sweater to mark her traps. It was nice bright red, ties it on the tip of a tree, so she can see at a glance like, oh hey, I've got a trap here, and showed us that, and then shortly after she's getting a rabbit in one of her snares, and so she got to eat this episode, which can we say that? Well, I guess we can say that everybody got a meal this week in one way or another. Let's jump over to Cali. The Grouse Getter 2000. I really hope that thing works. It's one of the most ridiculous traps we've ever seen on the show, and I really hope that it works. I love watching contestants build these contraptions, but very rarely do we see them work out, and I hope that Cali's design works out for her. She's got the bunch berries, the loose resting branch, and the grouse is supposed to fall down once they land on that branch and get trapped in the bottom. I don't know how successful that's going to be, but I really hope it works out for Cali. She's starting to also have issues with hunger, basically saying she has not been having the success at trapping that she had hoped, and really that's what sustained her when she pushed it to 90 days in the Arctic. So without that, she's starting to doubt herself and starting to realize that the trauma that she put on her body is in store for her pretty soon if she's not able to stabilize her calorie intake. So we'll have to monitor that moving forward. Also, didn't look that great for her on the previews. So is Cali going to make it to the end? Is it next week or last week? We'll have to tune in and find out. Amos, he's out hunting for a bear. He's not getting a bear. We all know he's not getting a bear. If his whole strategy is get a bear, which we're starting to see it isn't, but he keeps saying bear, 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 bear. Amos, you're not getting a bear. there's 0% chance that you're taking down a bear. And every time he goes out and says he's looking for a bear, I'm just completely over it. But while he was out looking for a bear, he snares a rabbit. So that was really good for him. Got a nice big rabbit. Then he finds the bird that he shot earlier in the season. Looked like it had been partially eaten by other animals. Decides that he's going to try to use that as bait for the bear. You know, it's a good idea, I guess, but if he killed a bear, it would be all over the previews, and it's just not. Then at the very end of the episode, we see him spot another bird. He takes a shot at it, but first, a word from our sponsors. You know, that was like a ridiculous way to just end the episode. You know, like you could look at your clock, see that the episode was about to end, and still they cut to another commercial break. So we have the commercial break, and then come back. Yep, sure enough, he shot the grouse. Gets the grouse, and we kind of just end the episode right after that. Very, very silly, and hope that we don't get much more of that moving forward. You know, one saving grace is as winter starts to set in, the food is going to be scarcer and scarcer. You know, we just saw that on season 9. So then the History Channel just isn't going to have the opportunity to have those cliffhanger commercial breaks each and every commercial. All right, lastly, Michelle. We didn't get very much from her this week. She made an absolute rat's nest out of her fishing line in the middle of the night. Did manage to untangle it all, and then finds a dead bird while she's walking around, and it looked like she ate the bird, and that was it. Nothing else to say about her. I really hope we get to see more of Michelle. You know, kind of sucks having only 4 people there and having Michelle really just fade into the background. Hopefully she has lots more success and lots more to show us in the coming weeks. All right, I think that is it for this week. As always, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I'm out.